So we're here in the garden of Dundurn Castle, which is in Hamilton, and I'm talking to Juby Lee, who is Communications Manager and is kicking off the Hamilton Fruit Tree Project here. So tell me a bit about the Fruit Tree Project. It's one of the first, Hamilton's the first area in Ontario that started the project, right?
Yes, so when we started in 2005, we were the first in Ontario, but there's a few in Vancouver and some in the States.
So for folks who don't know, what do you do exactly?
The concept is very simple. We harvest fruit from local backyard trees, and it gets divided up between the homeowners, the volunteers, and the food banks.
Okay, so if I was a homeowner, I had fruit trees, I didn't want to pick the fruit, or I couldn't pick the fruit anymore, I would call you up, and what would happen?
What would happen is then I would arrange for some volunteers, hopefully in the area, who can then bike or walk or take public transit, and we would gather and we would just harvest the fruit. We have some equipment, and we would take a few hours just to harvest. And what usually happens is then we then divide it up between the three groups that I just chatted about, and then the rest. Then I would sort the remainder, and it usually ends up going to either food banks, or last year we did breakfast programs as well.
Okay, so you've been doing it for 4 years now. So what amount of fruit and what kinds of fruit have you been gathering over those years?
Last year we picked peaches, pears, apples, and grapes. And this year we've added sour cherries as well. It all just depends on what's available to us.
Okay, and what amounts are you getting?
We get anywhere from a pound of cherries to 600 pounds of pears. So we had this one pear tree that had over 600 pounds. So you can see why some homeowners would like to get involved, because you, as a family or as an individual with a tree so large, it's difficult to harvest and consume all of that fruit.
So what's the advantage to the community to doing this kind of work?
There's a lot of community building that happens. So you pick fruit from neighbors that you wouldn't normally have access to their backyards, as well as we can then increase the fresh fruit availability that happens in the food banks. People don't realize that food banks are actually able and capable of handling fresh fruit and vegetables. It's a special process, right? It's not the same as donating canned goods and non-perishables. So especially now in these economic times, the demand that the food banks are saying has dramatically increased, while the supply has dramatically dropped. So now we're able to supplement, at least from late July to September, October, some of that need.
So the event today here in Dundurn Castle is meant to do what?
It's just meant to highlight the Fruit Tree Project, kind of get people aware that the project exists. We're always looking for volunteers, always looking for fruit to pick, and to just get the word out.
Okay. So if somebody wanted to get involved in the project, what would they do?
They would log on to environmenthamilton.org, and from there they will find the Fruit Tree Project link.
Okay. So Jube, these are the actual apple trees for Dundurn Castle, which is up there behind you. So you guys have picked here before, right?
Yes, we had a successful year last year, and this year we're going to have a big drop-in kind of event where people will come and harvest what they would like to have, and we'll donate the rest to the food banks.
Right. So how do you pick in trees like this? Are people just coming here with apples and doing it by hand, or?
Because the as you can see, the branches are quite low. Some people can do it by hand. We also have special fruit pickers that will help us get into the top branches of the trees.